Ladies and gentlemen, from Los Angeles, California, a personal friend of ours, Mr. Ray Charles.
Don't you treat me around. Come and love Ray. No, right. Yeah. She don't do me right. She don't do me right now. Woo, yeah. See the girl with the white dress on. She can move it out. No, right. Yeah. She don't do me right. She don't do me right now. Woo, yeah. Tell your mama. Tell your papa, look in the book, yeah, she don't do me right. She don't do me right now. Woo, yeah. Take it, boy. Wow, when you see me in misery. Mama made love to me right now. Yeah. She don't do me right. She don't do me right now. Yeah. Oh, when I say, yeah, when I say, yeah. Yeah, when I say, when everybody went out there. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, I think it's amazing what Ray Charles is putting himself through here tonight, and I know he appreciates all the support and love of you.
Sweet Pete, ladies and gentlemen, Sweet Pete.
I'll tell you what, there was an ad in the paper, and my mother called me. It was in the late 70s, and my mother said, "Oh, Peter, there's an ad in the press. It says trumpet player wanted for odd weekend band." And I didn't really understand what they were asking for, so I called the number, and I spoke with Carl on the phone first, and I asked him what was odd about the band. Was the band odd, or did we play on just odd numbered weekends? I didn't know what the story was. So Carl explained, no, he says, we're going to be an odd type of band. So him and Cindy came over to my house in Brooklyn, and he brought over a tape. I was just impressed that they brought a tape over moments after I spoke to him on the phone. And he asked me, he said, "Have you heard Ain't Too Proud to Beg?" And I said, no. He asked if I knew who the Blues Brothers were, and I kind of knew who the Blues Brothers were. But he gave me a tape of these soul tunes, Motown tunes, and I really didn't hear them. I was an Italian kid from Brooklyn. I didn't listen to Motown, and I was a trumpet player, and I didn't even know they had trumpets in those songs. But I listened to it, and then I went to the rehearsal or the audition. The only band I ever played in before that was a band called Polaris. It was a polka band, and I was a junior or senior in a marching band. So I was meeting these guys that wore sunglasses to rehearsal, and they played really loud rock and roll, and I was pretty tickled about it. I was kind of nervous, and then when they told me that I passed the audition, I was the trumpet player of their choice. I don't know how many rock and roll trumpet players auditioned, but I got the job. So I was happy to meet them. It was quite an impressive crew. My initial meeting was, I thought Carl was very businesslike, Cindy was kind of quiet, and the sax player was Crusher, so that was kind of neat meeting him. And then Carl said the name of the band was going to be the Flashcats, and I didn't know where that name came from. I think I asked him, and he said that he always wanted a band named the Flashcats, and I thought, okay, it's a good name. I don't think anybody's using that name. And he said we were going to wear hats and sunglasses, and I thought, oh, playing a band that wears sunglasses, I'm in. The very first job we played, I think it was at a club called The Other End. It was at the one end of the Liberty Tubes. It was in late winter or very early spring. And I remember before we went on stage, we were standing out in the parking lot. I don't know what we were doing outside, and I think my hat blew off. And I think Cindy was driving her car through the parking lot, rode over my hat, and it ended up being up in the wheel well with all the snow and slush. And I just couldn't believe it, but we pulled the hat out, and Carl said, that's fine. He just punched it out and kind of knocked the slush off and put it on my head, and he says, that's fine. And I thought, cool, it was fine. You know, it was a brand new hat before, but it kind of matched, and that kind of set the pace of the band. Like, it was nothing for that to happen and just go right on stage. We went in, and I remember Joe Anselmo, meeting him. He was our sound guy. Joe was just amazing. He was just a bit of a member of the band as Cindy or Hugh Shaw or Carl or any of the front people in the band. So it was great. It was that night, you know, wearing the slushy hat and all the sparks and PA equipment burning up, and Joe fixing it right there on the spot. It was just amazing. We might have played down at Sunny Days stage door 35 weekends out of 1 year. It was a really small stage, just big enough for one stripper, but the stage was still maybe a 6-foot square. So Crusher and I, the horn section, stood behind this massive PA column, just blowing our brains out because of these loud guitars, and we couldn't be loud enough. It was just so loud and so sweaty and so hot, and the ceiling was like right at our heads. I mean, it was just something to see all of us crammed on this stage playing really loud music that nobody else was playing at the time, let alone we had sunglasses on and black hats and all matching suits. That's when rock bands were rock bands.